Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Live with Mel. This episode is brought to you by Yellow Cab Company of DC. If you're looking to avoid rideshare prices, then check out the Yellow Cab Company of DC when you are in the nation's capital. Gas prices are at the forefront of many Americans' minds. At the moment, gas prices at the gas tanks has affected American families and American lives tremendously. We are seeing massive spikes in the rising cost of gas. Now, while gas prices are rising, many people are looking towards President Joe Biden to do something about the rising price of gas. Now, the rising price of gas has a lot to do with the war that is happening between Ukraine and Russia at the moment. But inflation also has a huge part to do with it. With these two major things happening, Americans are paying more for gas than they ever paid before. Now, with the rising gas prices, countries across the globe were very wary of putting a sanction or a ban on Russian oil imports. However, President Joe Biden has decided that he will ban all Russian oil and all Russian energy from coming into the United States. Now, while he's doing this, he is also saying that Americans will continue to see rising prices at the gas pump because of this. Now, European nations are not at that point yet. And prior to President Joe Biden signing the executive order, we saw that private sector companies were already deciding that they were not going to do business with Russia. And now, because of all this, Americans will see this at the pump. Now, rising gas prices, again, are something that many Americans are concerned with. And many Americans are concerned about the war as well. It seems as though countries in the Western world have chosen to put sanctions in place against Russia, making Russia the most sanctioned country on the planet. Now, instead of putting boots on the ground, the Western world is trying to hit Russia with its pockets with the incredible amount of sanctions that they have put on. Now, President Joe Biden announced this ban on Tuesday. And with this, President Joe Biden stated, "We're banning all imports of Russian oil and gas energy. That means Russian oil will no longer be accepted in U.S. ports, and the American people will deal another powerful blow to Russian President Putin's war machine." Now, again, already because of this, the average cost of gas in the United States is hitting $4.17. But we're seeing even larger gas prices, even bigger gas prices, more expensive gas in places like California, where gas is already expensive. Many Americans do not know what they're going to do with the rising cost of gas. But President Joe Biden has said that this is Putin's gas hike, that the blame is to be put on President Putin because of his decision to invade Ukraine. Now, a lot of people did want to see the ban on Russian oil and Russian energy. Many people believe that if you were going to sanction Russia, you had to hit them where it really hurt. And between kicking Russian banks off of the SWIFT system and then also putting this major ban on Russian oil is definitely going to hit Russian pockets, and it's going to affect the Russian economy even more. Now, while the United States has decided to put this ban, there are still other countries that would gladly accept oil from Russia, including China. But it will be a big blow to the Russian economy for this ban. And we're going to have to wait and see if other nations across the globe will follow in America's footsteps and start banning the import of Russian oil. Now, President Joe Biden is looking at other places in order to supplement the oil coming in. Now, a lot of people who don't necessarily support Biden have been saying that we need to focus more on having domestic oil, on having our own pipelines and really depending on America for oil. However, it does not look as though the Biden administration is going that route. Right now, the Biden administration is looking for other places to see if they can supplement the oil that would be coming in from Russia. And one of the places that the Biden administration is looking is Venezuela. Now, in the next couple of days, over the weekend on Saturday, the United States diplomats will be traveling to Venezuela to try and negotiate with the Venezuelan president, Maduro, to see if they can start getting gas, oil from Venezuela. Now, we have to remember that Venezuela was hit with heavy sanctions back in 2019. The Trump administration hit Venezuela with these sanctions because of electoral fraud, and rightly so. But at this time, there are many reasons why the Biden administration is now looking to Venezuela. Number one, they could fill the gap when it comes to oil. Another reason would be Venezuela and Russia are still very much allies, and the United States is also trying to cut off Russia from its remaining allies in the world. Now, I've been stating this all week on the various broadcasts that we've been having. Russia still has allies in the world. And if we listen to Western media, it makes it seem as though Russia is on its own and that it has no allies. But that is not the case. There are still many countries that are opposed to putting sanctions on Russia. There are still many countries that support Russia. One that took many Americans by surprise was Mexico, when Mexico said they will not be putting any sanctions on Russia. And at the time, because the United States government knows there is a possibility that we could be entering into war with Russia if they do something drastic in Ukraine, or if they decide to attack a NATO country, again, we could be entering into war. They want to cut off Russia for any of the allies that they have, especially on this side of the hemisphere. And Venezuela is one of those countries that still has strong ties to Russia, that still conducts a lot of business with Russia, and is essentially a Russian ally. Now, somewhere else where President Biden may be looking for oil is Saudi Arabia. Now, many people have been pushing around the idea of President Biden speaking to Saudi Arabia. And it looks as though the Biden administration is thinking about taking that option. While nothing is planned at the moment, many from the White House have been saying that President Biden may speak to Saudi Arabia in an attempt to have them produce more oil. They want to see the production increase from Saudi Arabia. But again, that is going to be later on in the future. Between Venezuela, bringing Venezuelan oil into the United States, and also having Saudi Arabia produce more, we may be able to get gas prices under control. But until then, President Biden has basically stated to the American people that they should brace themselves, because there will be another gas hike. Now, again, gas is extremely high at the moment, and many Americans are wary about that. But let's go ahead and go to the comments. Wade says, did you hear Vladimir Putin has announced that he will be resigning as the president of Russia in January? I did not hear that, Wade. Yep, he's putting his 2-month notice. I did not hear that, but I will pull that up later to see what is going on with that decision. Now, President Biden did come out and say this. The decision today is not without cost here at home. Putin's war is already hurting American families at the gas pump. Since Putin began his military buildup at Ukraine borders, just since then, the price of gas at the pump in America went up 75 cents. And with this action is going to go up further. I'm going to do everything I can to minimize Putin's price hike here at home. So again, President Biden is warning the American people that gas is going to continue to rise. And many American households do not know how they're going to deal with this. Here at home, here in the United States, inflation has already hurt the American people. The cost of housing, the cost of food, the cost of utilities have all went up tremendously. And while the cost of goods are going up due to inflation, Americans' paychecks are looking the same. Now, during the State of the Union, Biden again raved about the economy doing well. But if you ask everyday Americans about the state of the economy, many are looking at it very bleakly because they are not seeing the economy doing well. They're seeing that they are making the same amount of money and everything is rising tremendously. And now with gas prices at an all-time high and continuing to rise, this is making many Americans fearful for the future. Many Americans don't know what they're going to do. Many Americans don't know how they're going to put gas in their car. Many Americans don't know how they're going to put food on the table. Now, when we talk about the price of gas as well, many Americans really do focus in on putting gas in their car. However, the rising cost of gas will cause other things to rise as well. Because in order to transport goods, in order to keep the supply chain going, vehicles need to fuel up. Planes need to fuel up. Trucks need to fuel up. With the rising cost of gas, companies will start to increase their prices as well to keep up with the rising cost of gas. So not only will we see an increase in filling up our cars, we will also see an increase in the price of goods. Now, something that many Americans are worried about as well is price gouging. Oil companies kicking up prices to price gouge. Now, this is what President Biden had to say on this. So President Biden said, to the oil and gas companies and to the financial firms backing them, we understand Putin's war against the people of Ukraine is causing prices to rise. We get that. That's self-evident. But it's no excuse to exercise excessive price increases or padding profits of any kind of effort to exploit the situation or American consumers exploiting them. Russia's aggression is costing us all, and it's not time for profiteering or price gouging. So again, something else that the federal government, that the Biden administration is worried about is the financial sector and oil and gas companies looking to make a profit off of this and doing price gouging. With the American public knowing that gas prices are going to rise, that the cost of filling up your car is going to increase tremendously, there could be, and there probably will be, oil companies and gas companies looking to turn more of a profit and them raising the price more than what they need to in order to make more of a profit. Now, while President Biden has stated that he is warning the oil companies and the gas companies not to price gouge, there needs to be some way to hold these companies accountable. There needs to be some way to ensure that these companies are not price gouging. And again, we're going to have to look to the federal government in order to deal with the situation. But at this time, it does not look as though President Biden has outlined a way to deal with that situation. But it is a possibility. At the end of the day, companies are here to make a profit. And with the banning of Russian oil from coming into the United States, there is a possibility, a great possibility, that companies, oil companies, gas companies, companies in the financial sector who back them will see this as an opportunity to take advantage of the situation and raise their prices even more. And it's something that the American people need to be wary of, but it's also something that the Biden administration needs to be responsible for. They need to ensure that companies are not trying to profit off the back of the American consumers who are at this time suffering, who are at this time looking for some type of relief. Now, Joanna says Saudi Arabia will exchange for weapons. That is a possibility. Now, again, the Biden administration is looking to Saudi Arabia to produce more oil, for production rates to go up. And while they don't have a time set to talk to Saudi Arabia, after their meeting with Venezuela, the Biden administration will most likely go to Saudi Arabia and try to negotiate the production to increase. Joanna also says, maybe we'll get a stimulus check for gas. That's a possibility, but I don't necessarily see that happening at the moment. But again, at this time, many Americans are worried about the gas prices, and no matter what happens at this moment, gas prices are going to go up. There's no way around it. There's no way for the gas prices to go down. Again, President Biden is heading to Venezuela. He is trying to see if Venezuela will be open to having Venezuelan oil in the United States. Now, Venezuela has the ball in its court, and there are some Americans who are against going to Venezuela because they essentially see it as begging a country that we had placed sanctions on to come and help us. But at the day, President Maduro has the ball in his court, and he could provide a lot of relief for the American people, but at what cost? America does need to play nice to Venezuela, though, and for diplomatic reasons. Venezuela is an enemy, could possibly be an enemy, if America does put boots on the ground. We could have Russian allies very close to home if we do have boots on the ground. So while this diplomatic mission to Venezuela is about oil, it is about other things as well. If we do go and have negotiations with Saudi Arabia to increase the production of oil, again, the ball will be in Saudi Arabia's court as well. Right now, the Biden administration is trying to reduce the impact of the Ukraine-Russian war, the biggest war fought in Europe since World War II. They're trying to reduce the impact that we're seeing here at home. However, I do not think it's going to be enough. And I do think we're going to continue to see some of the highest gas prices that we have seen ever in the United States. We are in a position where, because of the Russian-Ukrainian war, we are going to continue to see higher prices for years to come. Now, this has been a hard time for the entire planet, but it has been a hard time for the American people. As we're coming out of one crisis, which was the pandemic, we are now entering into another crisis. Many believe that we are on the brink of a global conflict, of World War III. And the only person who can determine how far this goes is Vladimir Putin. And many people are wary because of that. Now, again, it looks as though we are seeing alliances form right in front of us. Russia and China are essentially forming an alliance at this time. Russian banks, Russian corporations are looking to China. The United States at this time has seen that, and they're trying to distance many of Russia's allies here on our side of the hemisphere from Russia. But as the world is drawing lines, as the world is determining who is an ally to who, here at home, we're going to continue to see rising cost of gas, rising cost of food, rising cost of housing, because it's all tied together. We are in a global economy. And while many people, including President Biden, has stated that they want to see more production of things happen here at home, here in America, we are a long ways away from that. And at the end of the day, President Biden needs to do something on both fronts. President Biden does need to continue to take action against Russia, but President Biden also needs to handle the inflation and the rising cost of gas here, because the American people are unable to keep up with these rising costs. But let's go ahead and go to the comments. Wade says, woohoo, America, we are number one. And then I am not going to read that last comment from Wade right there. I'm not going to read that on air. But guys, thank you so much for tuning in. My name is Mel. I come live every single Monday through Wednesday to bring you guys current events and let you know what's happening across the globe and right here in this great nation. I will see you guys next week. Again, I will keep you updated about everything that's going on with this international conflict. I'll keep you updated with the variants that are happening. On Tuesday, President Biden signed an executive order that essentially bans all Russian oil, all Russian energy from coming into the United States. This will cause the American people to see the price of gas go up and the price of many other things because, again, gas is essential to the supply chain. And if companies are seeing that increase in price, that price is going to be passed down to the consumer. So again, inflation is going to rise, price of goods are going to rise, price of gas is going to rise, price of food will rise. The Biden administration is looking across the globe to see how they can supplement the loss of this Russian oil. I'll keep everyone updated. Thank you so much for tuning in. Again, my name is Mel. I come live every single Monday through Wednesday, and I will see everyone next week. Have a great day, everybody.